Host Sabo, everybody. Today we are going to talk about Morpho. This is a lending and borrowing market. We are going to understand why the tech is so good that even for Compound is looking to adopt its technology, and Berachain is going to pay a license fee to fork Morpho. So coming back into Morpho, it doesn't have a flashy front end. It's a lending and borrowing market. So there are two tabs here. There is earn and there is borrow. We're going to start with borrow. Borrow is also known as Morpho Blue. Now each of these rows are markets and they are isolated. So what do I mean by isolated? Now let's take a look at Aave. I supply 0.1 ETH. I'm able to borrow 50 in GHO. I'm also able to borrow USDC 50. Now coming back to Morpho, I supplied 0.1 ETH into the WETH and USDC market. Now I can go in and I can borrow a max of 137 and I can borrow 50 USDC too. Coming back to the markets, however, I am not able to borrow from the other markets because they are isolated. So in the case of going to CBBTC USDC, I'm not able to make any borrow because in Aave, when I supply 0.1, I'm supplying into a big common pool and I'm able to borrow from a list of assets within the big common pool. However, in the case of Morpho, because all these markets are isolated, you can only borrow within the market that you provide collateral. So what's the benefit of having an isolated market? Now, because the markets are isolated, suppose WETH is exploited, the rest of the markets are not affected. Now, there's a few more things that differentiate Morpho. In the Morpho markets, all of it are permissionless. Anyone can create a Morpho market as long as you provide the 5 parameters, the collateral asset, loan asset, LLTV, the interest rate model, and the oracle. Now let's take for example the CBBTC USDC market. So it has the collateral token, loan token, LLTV. It also has the oracle and the interest rate model. Now these parameters are customizable, but once they are set in the smart contract, they cannot be changed. So as a user, you can be certain that the params does not change unexpectedly. Now in contrast to Aave, where updating of new tokens or changing interest rate, it goes through a governance model. So Morpho is permissionless and modular. The markets here are all isolated. Anyone can create the markets. Now let's go to earn. Now in earn, there are votes, and each of these votes users can provide liquidity and earn yield. All these votes are created by curators, and curators help you to manage the vote and they take a fee. Let's take an example of the seamless USDC vote by Gunlet. In this vote, when you deposit USDC, you earn a yield of 6.09% APY. But if you take a look, there's a performance fee of 15%, which is accounted for. Curator's role is to manage the USDC in the vote and allocate the capital and manage it actively for you. You can see the allocation, where are the USDC going to, like 77% of the USDC goes to CBUSDC. Now when I click on it, it will bring you back to CBBTC USDC, which is the market. This USDC that they are borrowing comes from the vote. So at this point, you can see the liquidity from the vote goes into the different markets that are being created. So here's a table of the curator landscape. The TVL is a combination of Morpho and Euler. So they curate, manage the vote. You can think of it as active management for you, and they charge a fee. These are the TVL that they have accumulated. So coming back to Morpho, you can see that it's very modular and permissionless, because if you see Compound as an OG is losing its TVL in comparison to the other DeFi apps. Morpho as a new lending protocol has been gaining traction. So as for Berachain, what are they willing to pay for Morpho tech? Also, what they need is a new clean modular money market to plug into their POL system, which is different from like the POS or POW. And Morpho itself, because it's modular, it's easier to integrate into their native tokenomics. I hope you learned something about Morpho. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. See you next time. Bye bye.